Bank.
Speaker of Parliament refers Chief Justice nominee Paul Bafo-Boni for vetting despite injunction to halt the process.
Also coming up, President John Mahama cuts sword for the dualization of the Accra-Cape Coast Road project as part of the Big Push agenda.
Interior Minister imposes curfew on Gulumpe in the Kintampo North District following gunfire shots in ongoing chieftaincy disputes.
And later in business, the Ministry of Finance hints that the 2026 budget will champion sustained fiscal discipline and robust investment in infrastructure and job creation.
In international news, former French President Nicolas Sarkozy begins 5-year jail term for conspiring to fund his election campaign with money from late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi.
We're live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. We're also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, and we always love to hear from you, so do send your messages in.
In the details this evening, President John Dramani Mahama has assured residents that the Western Regional Hospital will be completed within the next 18 months. The project, which is 25% complete, has halted due to the debt restructuring program after being initiated by the previous administration. The president views this as a responsibility passed on to him and has pledged to complete it along with other stalled projects. Irama Smith has more in the following report.
President John Dramani Mahama began his one working day visit to the Western region in the Ahanta West municipality, where he inspected the stalled 25% complete regional hospital project at Apiminim. He stated that the goal of such projects is to distribute health facilities more evenly across the country, thereby reducing pressure on existing ones, and assured the public that the 250-bed facility will be completed within the next 18 months. This is informed by thorough engagement with the official creditor committee, leading to the Finance Ministry beginning the processing of the contractor's certificate. The next stop was at the regional capital, where he inspected the Fiumkwanta Regional Hospital expansion project, which aims to convert it into a teaching hospital. This is 45% complete. President Mahama indicated he sees this as a baton passed to him from the previous administration and is committed to finishing it and other stalled projects. He vowed to end the cycle where new government intentionally abandoned projects started by their predecessors.
The intention for these projects is to spread out our health facilities so that you don't have too much pressure on only one facility. Fiumkwanta has been the main hospital in the whole of the Western region. And so it was necessary to expand it and then also build a second regional hospital at Apiminim. As I said during the campaign period last year, I said that one of the practices that has drawn Ghana back is that when a new government comes, it does not continue the work the previous government was doing. But governance is like a relay race. One government passes the baton to the next. So this is a baton that the previous government passed on to us. So I can assure you that the money that has gone into this building is the money of the Ghanaian taxpayer. And so we're not going to let it go to waste. We're going to continue and finish this project.
Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson was optimistic its completion will improve quality healthcare delivery in the region.
His Excellency made a promise during the campaign. And so today we have him here. In fulfillment of that promise, he's come to see these projects that were started by the previous administration. As we all know, this one and others that we're about to see have stalled. That, as part of his commitment, is come to see how this project can progress so that at the end of the day it's completed for the benefit of the people.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, 2nd D.
And still at the presidency, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has announced the introduction of a strict weight restriction regime aimed at sanitizing discipline on the road and ensuring roads last for longer periods of existence. At the sword-cutting ceremony for the redevelopment of the Cape Coast Takoradi National Route in Takoradi as part of the Big Push agenda, the president says that consultation will soon commence with transport owners on the introduction in the next budget reading by the finance minister. Here's a report by Komla Kluche.
The redevelopment of the Cape Coast Takoradi Road forms part of the National Route 1N1 and the Trans-West African Highway linking Accra to Takoradi, Ghana's key industrial and port hub. The corridor carries more than 90% of freight and passenger movement to the western region and provides access to major tourism destinations such as Cape Coast and Elmina. The existing two-lane carriageway heavily congested and prone to accidents, resulting in long travel times and high transport costs. Government viewing the dualization as a strategic national intervention under the Big Push infrastructure program and a 24-hour economy policy aimed at improving mobility, safety and logistics efficiency while boosting regional economic activity. Roads Minister Kwame Govin-Sagboje says government is intentional about local content in building roads while urging contractors to remain on site and build quality roads.
Your Excellency, the contractors that have been selected to do this project have also been taken through good orientation. Many of them are Ghanaian contractors, and we are going to build the best roads we have ever witnessed in our country. And we say to every contractor who is participating, no one is compelling you to be part of the Big Push. However, if you decide to be part of the President Mahama's Big Push, you must be the best.
The project covers approximately 73.6 kilometers from Cape Coast to Takoradi, divided into 3 contiguous lots for efficient implementation. It will deliver 3 interchanges, 4 bridges and 2 pedestrian facilities. President John Mahama cautioned against the damage caused by heavy trucks who ply the roads with an assurance of a rigid weight restriction system.
There are trucks in this country that load 120 tons when the maximum load is supposed to be 50 tons. There is no road you can construct that will stand 20 tons per truck. And so I've told the roads minister, and it's going to be announced firmly in the budget, we'll consult the drivers union, the transporters, we must implement weight restrictions so that the roads that we build can last.
Breaking the grounds, the president assured there will be no delay in the 24-month work duration period. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Shama.
We're now taking you to Parliament, where the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has referred the nomination of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice to the Appointments Committee for consideration. This is coming despite a suit filed by the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, asking the High Court to stop the nomination and vetting of Justice Paul Bafuboni. The Appointments Committee, upon the referral by the Speaker, will consequentially schedule a date to vet Justice Paul Bafuboni.
The sitting started with the swearing in of 2 new members to join the majority bench. That is, the Member of Parliament for Akwetia, Bernard Bediakon, as well as the MP for Tamale Central, Professor Asiedu-Dartey Ayisha. The House then observed a moment of silence for the helicopter crash victims.
May their souls and the souls of all the faithfully departed rest in perfect peace. Amen.
The minority leader, Alexander Afenyomarkin, urged government to walk the talk in its implementation of the 24-hour economy.
Ghanaians remain concerned about the economy. While recent indicators show modest macroeconomic gains, these are yet to bring real relief to the ordinary citizen. The truth is, stabilization means little if the youth remain unemployed and families still struggle with the cost of living. Enough of the rhetorics. The 24-hour economy must not be an empty talk. The minority registers its unequivocal objection to the removal of the Chief Justice, Mrs. Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokonu. We believe the process lacked transparency, violated constitutional principles, and set a dangerous precedent for judicial interference.
Then you had the so far so excellent choruses sung by the majority leader, who deems government performance over the period incredibly well.
The NPP, which previously had a micro-minority of 88, has had its number shrink further to 87. Mr. Speaker, I believe they are no longer a micro-minority, but a minuscule minority. I'm proud to say that so far, so excellent. The energy sector is doing very well, and electricity has remained on and powering growth. So far, so excellent. The economy is rebounding, and Ghana once again is gaining economic respectability globally. So far, so excellent. Our schools are functioning well, and free SHS is well funded, and we have not experienced any disruption of schools or school calendar in our constituencies. So far, so excellent.
Meanwhile, some 10 members of parliament, led by John Ntim Forjo and Samuel Nate George, have reintroduced the Proper Human Sexual Right and Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-LGBTQ Bill. It is expected that the presentation and the first reading of this bill would be done and then appropriately forwarded to the relevant committee to be considered. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Parliament.
Right, and clearly some of us do miss the likes of Alexander Afenyomarkin and his debate with the majority side led by Mahama Ayariga. So that's what transpired in Parliament the first day after they resumed. But one key issue that came up again was the Speaker's referral of the nomination of Paul Bafuboni, the acting Chief Justice, to the Appointments Committee for consideration and subsequent vetting. So let's take a look at how that also played out in Parliament.
Nomination of Chief Justice. Following consultations with the Council of State, conveyed by its letter dated 14th October 2025, and in accordance with Article 144, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I have the honor to respectfully submit for the approval of Parliament the nomination of Justice Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Justice Bafuboni has distinguished himself through unwavering integrity, sound judicial temperament, and a deep commitment to the rule of law. Attached are the nominees' curriculum vitae and supporting documents to facilitate the vetting process. I trust that Parliament will expedite the approval process in accordance with constitutional requirements. The nominee is accordingly referred to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House. We trust that this will be done in accordance with the laws of this country. And at the end of the day, please, we'll give you ample time for us to assist His Excellency to make sure that the confidence in the arms of government are restored and enhanced.
Moving away from Parliament, Gulumpe Township and its surrounding areas located within the Kintampo North municipality of the Bono East region are now under a mandatory curfew. This curfew, ordered by the Interior Minister, took effect since 4 p.m. and will end at 6 a.m. This is the new norm for residents until further notice. Escalating chieftaincy disputes culminating in a violent exchange left 4 individuals critically injured by gunfire and forced thousands of residents, primarily women and children, to flee their homes. Security forces have been deployed on the ground to actively stabilize the area. Let's go on to Zoom now to speak with our correspondent, Belinda Tete, to give us more on this. Belinda, if you can hear me, good evening. Paint for us a picture of what is happening in the community tonight.
So as I'm speaking to you, the curfew has already started taking effect. As at 5 p.m., when we start leaving the community, the curfew has already started taking effect. And the regional police commander made sure that his men were in control and made sure he patrolled and made sure that there was a peace and total compliance of the curfew before we left the meeting this evening.
We know that all of this started because of a chieftaincy dispute. Much more can you tell us about the scuffle?
Right. So this is more of a tribal issue. And so Gulumpe is dominated with the Gonjas and the Kupumbe. So this started when they were loading a truck of charcoal. So Gulumpe is the point where most of the big trucks come to load their charcoal. And so there was this big truck that came for the loading boys to load the charcoal for them. And so in the process of loading, initially he said there was one group that used to load for him. But after Sunday, when he came, he wanted another group to load for him. But the first group did not understand. And so that was how the banter started. And the first group did not understand that the new group should come in to load. And then, so what started as just a small misunderstanding, oh, I'll load, no, I'll not allow you to load. One person from one group pulled scissors and stabbed another person from the other group. And this person was actually bleeding profusely, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. And so Monday, the regional police command and some other army command and some other security personnel had to rush to Gulumpe to make sure calm was restored. But they agreed initially. But this dawn, I am being told that one group, a member of one group, was going to the bush and he was beaten by the other group in the bush. And so he came back to report to people who didn't understand and decided to retaliate. And so in the retaliation process, they came to the town with guns and firearms and some tools. And in the process, they shot 3 people who are severely wounded and had to be rushed to the Kintampo hospital to be taken care of. So as I'm speaking to you, these other 3 people, in addition to the first person who was stabbed, are currently receiving treatment in Kintampo.
Belinda, you try and stay safe out there. We would be expecting more updates on this particular issue from you. Thank you so much. Belinda is our correspondent, bringing us up to date on a chieftaincy dispute in Gulumpe.
Still watching News 360 on TV3, and you will know that the last few days has been dominated by conversations of what the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been doing vis-a-vis his prosecutorial processes that he is undertaking to bring in the former finance minister. And one of the key issues that the OSP is standing on has to do with the SML debacle hanging around the neck of the former finance minister. So one of the latest information or the latest twist to the entire tale is that the management of SML, or the managing director specifically, Christian Tetesoti, and former Ghana Revenue Authority Commissioner Isaac Krenzel have sued the Special prosecutor and the Attorney General for taking mug shots of them. We'll try and give you specific updates of how all of this played out, but you'd recall that it came out in the middle of last year that a private institution, which is SML, was taking some project or had been given some contract by the then government, which was later found out to have been against our rule books. So let's speak to Dennis Puaberi Wadam Esquire, who's been following this story for us. He's joined us for a quick chat on what this entire suit must have done to the the process that has already commenced. Dennis, thank you for your time. Good evening. To start with, what do we know about this suit against the OSP and the Attorney General by managers of SML? I do not think that we have that connection to Dennis Puaberi Wadam, who is one of the lead producers here, who's been following this issue for us because he has gone to court and is keeping close tabs on it. When we do get him or get further updates on this, we will update you. But that's the latest in the long tail of what has been a very interesting subject matter.
It's a high-stakes case that's stirring up political tension and raising questions about Ghana's anti-corruption fight, the extradition of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, and whether friction between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Attorney General's Department is slowing things down. Judith Brown has more in this explainer.
Leaked documents obtained this week appear to show miscommunication, even confusion between the OSP and the Attorney General's Department over how to handle the extradition paperwork for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Well, at first glance, it looks like classic bureaucratic war. Two key state institutions unable or unwilling to get on the same page at a critical moment. But here's the real story. This may not be about rivalry at all. It may be about timing, procedure, and the extremely complex nature of international extradition. To extradite someone from the US, Ghana must prove that the case is not politically motivated, that the accused will receive a fair trial, and also that all procedural steps have been followed to the letter. Now, sources close to the process say that the OSP has done its part, placing Ofori-Atta on an Interpol red notice and preparing a detailed case.
About 30 minutes before this briefing, I triggered processes for the issuance of an Interpol red notice for the location and provisional arrest of Mr. Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta in whichever jurisdiction pending extradition or his surrender.
The AJ, for its part, has initiated the formal extradition process. So what's really the problem? The leak suggests gaps in how case files are transmitted and received, a procedural hiccup that's been read by some as obstruction, but could also be a result of misaligned timelines or miscommunication. And that brings us to a bigger issue, perception. The Ghanaian public and international observers are watching keenly. And leaked documents, especially in a politically sensitive case, can easily be interpreted as dysfunction, even if the legal process is still intact behind the scenes. Meanwhile, diplomatic sources in Washington confirm that the FBI and the State Department see no signs of political persecution, a critical green light for any extradition to proceed. So are the OSP and the AJ at odds? Or the answer may not be as dramatic as some headlines suggest. What we're seeing could be less about sabotage and more about the growing pains of Ghana's evolving legal system and intense global scrutiny. Now, in a case that could define President John Dramani Mahama's anti-corruption legacy, transparency, precision, and interagency trust will be essential, not just to bring a former minister to court, but also to prove to the world that Ghana's institutions can handle complex, high-profile prosecutions. And the coming weeks will indeed be telling. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Still on legal matters, the trial of former Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Ajenim Boateng Ejay, resumed today at the High Court, where the prosecution, led by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, calling on their first witness, a senior legal officer at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, The former PPA boss is facing 8 charges, including using public office for profit and influencing the procurement process to gain an unfair advantage. The prosecution witness Lambert Lugunia, a member of the investigation team, indicated that the investigation matters of conflict of interest following the contract of sale documentary, which was reported and submitted the 188-page final investigation report titled Decisions to the court. Defense lawyers had raised issues with the authenticity and certification of the reports, which was signed by the Commissioner of Shraj, Joseph Whittle, but the objection was overruled and the documents admitted. The case has been adjourned to Tuesday for continuation of the cross-examination.
Former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has met with the NPP's 5 presidential aspirants at his residence in Accra. The meeting was convened by the former president to foster a spirit of camaraderie and unity ahead of the party's presidential primaries scheduled for January 31, 2026. In his remarks, Akufo-Addo expressed his profound gratitude to the aspirants for taking time out of their busy campaign schedules to visit with him. He stated that their presence was a testament to their shared commitment to the collective good and future prospects of the NPP. The former president reminded the gathering that he had worked closely with each aspirant and holds them in high esteem. He encouraged them to conduct their campaigns in a healthy, issue-based manner that focuses on presenting their visions to the party delegates. In a significant show of solidarity, each of the 5 aspirants gave assurances to maintain a healthy but competitive campaign atmosphere.
In more news this evening, Ghana's favorite cola brand, Bell Cola, has unveiled a new addition to its beverage lineup, Bell Cola Zero Sugar. The new product, which promises the same rich taste with zero guilt, is designed to help health-conscious consumers who crave refreshment without compromise.
Since its debut in 2017, Bell Cola has grown to become a household name, a brand loved by Ghanaians for its genuine cola taste and local connection. The company is once again leading innovation with the launch of Bell Cola Zero Sugar, a product inspired by growing demand from calorie watchers, fitness enthusiasts, and consumers looking for a healthier lifestyle option. According to the company, the new variant maintains the same great flavor while cutting out the sugar, all backed by full FDA approval to ensure quality and safety. Addressing the media, Head of Marketing, Blochem Industries, Magnus A, highlighted the reason behind the launch of the new product.
Some loyal fans have started requesting alternatives or versions of the Bell Cola that can meet their fitness or lifestyle goals. So that was the inspiration behind the innovation.
He also added that newer products are being produced and will be launched in the coming months for customers.
We are also launching our Bell Malt Original. I would say relaunching our Bell Malt Original because we are refining it to become the best on the market, and so people should watch out for it this November.
The new Bell Cola Zero Sugar is already available across major retail outlets nationwide, from Accra to the north. And as the festive season approaches, the company says it's not stopping there, promising even more exciting products under its Squeezed and Belmont lines.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. Business, sports, entertainment are all coming up.
Good evening and welcome to the business segment on News 360. I am Minu Afo. Government says the 2026 budget will focus on fiscal discipline and job creation as it works to consolidate economic stability and sustain gains under the IMF program. Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakwampim says maintaining fiscal stability while expanding employment opportunities, especially for the youth, will be central to the budget, which is expected to be presented to Parliament in November.
In the 2025 budget, we allocated some 13.8 billion cedis to boost infrastructure. And we have 13.8 billion allocated to road infrastructure, what we call the big push. We know that because of procurement processes, utilization of these funds is low. But His Excellency President Mahama has decided to focus on roads. And so the indication is that 2026, we will more than double the allocation that we had in 2025 so that we can do more on our roads.
Away from that, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana has criticized commercial banks for failing to align lending rates with the country's improving macroeconomic environment, despite monetary policy rate of 21.5% and inflation rate of 9.4%. Executive Secretary of the association, Samson Asaki Awingobit, called out the banking sector, noting a persistent lag in rate transmission that continues to burden businesses.
Samson Asaki Awingobit pointed to the glaring disconnect between the Bank of Ghana's monetary policy rate, lower headline inflation, and higher interest rates.
Those who borrowed at 30%, at 28%, because inflation was somewhere 28, thereabout. Now inflation has come from far away from 54 to 28, as we speak, it's 9.4. Prime rate, it has come all the way to 21.5. Why would someone loan that he took or she took with the commercial banks at the rate of 28 as interest rate or 30% as interest repayment period is still paying when inflation has even come down to 9.4 and the prime rate has come down to 21.5.
In a direct appeal, he urged government to intervene swiftly to compel banks to further reduce their interest rates.
I'm inviting the Bank of Ghana into this conversation and the Minister of Finance into this conversation and the President, of course. Are Ghanaians continue servicing their loan vis-a-vis the current prevailing trend, or the loan was locked up at 28, so you still have to be paying your loan repayment? So even this month, by the end of this month, if you have to service your loan, is it coming down to 18, 17%? I have never seen that.
Awingobit stressed that without affordable credit, businesses cannot maximize their operations, ultimately delaying the full benefit of Ghana's disinflation success from reaching the real economy.
We'll take your attention now to the Bank of Ghana, which is deepening awareness on financial sector fraud as new figures show losses of nearly 100 million cedis recorded in 2024. The central bank made the call at the 2025 Consumer Reporting Officers and Stakeholders Engagement held in Accra under the theme Excellence in Service, Innovation in Delivery, Security and Practice.
The Bank of Ghana's 2025 fraud report shows over 16,700 cases were recorded, about 5% higher than in 2023, with an estimated loss of 99 million cedis. According to Second Deputy Governor Matilda Asiedu, a third of these cases involved staff of financial institutions, heightening concerns about internal lapses and weak oversight.
Perhaps the most challenging part is that 33% of that fraud was committed by staff. And this is very alarming, and it calls on all of us in compliance, not just in compliance, but even as supervisors, to pay attention. It means that we have to be more intentional about vigilance, about ethics, about discipline, and have stronger internal controls.
For his part, Director of the Financial Stability Department, Dr. Kwesi Osei-Yeboah, urged consumer reporting officers and financial institutions to improve on their customer service delivery while ensuring tightened internal controls.
The tools we use, the channels we operate through, and the speed at which customers interact with banking services continue to change. Embracing innovation while ensuring no one is left behind is essential to strengthening access and enhancing customer satisfaction.
And now Cargill Ghana has commissioned a new $4 million investment in wastewater treatment, advanced air filtration and solar energy expansion at its cocoa processing facility. The project is to reaffirm its commitment to environmental sustainability.
The new project forms part of Cargill's broader effort to promote responsible manufacturing and reduce its carbon footprint. With the launch of the wastewater treatment plant, the company can now treat and reuse 100% of its wastewater in-house. This innovation conserves water, reduces environmental impact, and ensures all treated water meets Environmental Protection Authority standards for reuse in landscaping and other non-portable purposes. Cargill has also introduced a baghouse filtration system that eliminates visible emission from factory operations, improving air quality for employees and neighboring communities. Managing Director of Cargill Ghana, Max Esolat, spoke about the vision behind the commission.
Our purpose is to nourish the world in a safe, responsible and sustainable way. So being a sustainable company, we also want to be a leader in responsible and sustainable manufacturing. This wastewater treatment plant help us achieve some of our environmental goals.
Plant manager Richard Ejay shared details on the plant.
Wastewater treatment is very, very important for every manufacturing company because you use very clean water to run your process, but not all of it becomes part of your product. So the water that comes out really needs to be taken back into the environment. So what the plant does is to make sure that the water that is going out of the process is clean enough and does not have any adverse impact on the environment.
Time now to take a look at what's happening on the forex and commodities markets. Well, that's how we wrap up the business segment. My name is Minu Afo. Stay with us. Sports News is up next.
Of online abuse after a poor display against Morocco at the Under-23 AFCON. There's more for you in the following report put together by 3
When Ghana's Under-23 side fell 5-1 to host Morocco at the 2023 African Under-23 Cup of Nations, few players bore the brunt of public anger like Terry Yegbe. The defender, then 21, endured a torrid evening in Rabat as his mistake led to one of Morocco's goals, and his overall performance drew heavy criticism. What followed was a torrent of abuse. Social media was unrelenting, with fans singling him out as a scapegoat for Ghana's early exit. That night in Rabat could have easily defined his career. Instead, it became a turning point.
I think I have come to understand that this is what I signed for, because I've been in that situation after the Under-23 game, after our game against Morocco. It didn't go well for me, and that's not how I want it to be. So it was a really bad game for me. And then the internet, Ghanaians are coming after me and all that. But that was when I learned I have to stay away from social media, focus on something different.
Before the criticism and questions, Yegbe's rise had been steady and hard-earned. Born in Akachi in Ghana's Volta region, he honed his skills at the Wafa Academy, the same institution that produced several national team stars. From there, he joined Vision FC, a lower-tier side in Accra, to continue his development.
I think my first year in Vision is really tough. Then the second year was okay. We were progressing, winning some game and all that. Then the agency came in. Then we tried to, I spoke with him, and first I missed one move when I was going to Midland from Vision. Then they denied me the visa 2 times. That also affects me mentally, and I just need to concentrate on the coming season. That was what the team president told me, Vision president, that he's gonna try to get me a move in.
In November 2024, Yegbe's steady performances were rewarded when he received his first senior Ghana call-up for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Angola and Niger.
I think it was a dream come true for me and my community and my and my family, because being the only player coming from that town or the village, playing for national team under 23 and progressing to the national team is.
His consistent performances in the Verkehrsliga attracted the attention of Swedish giants IF Elfsborg, where he made further strides. In the summer of 2025, he joined French Ligue 1 club FC Metz, a move he credits to a timely phone call from his agent and advice from close friend Augustin Boache. As for what comes next, the 22-year-old is clear about his personal ambitions for the remainder of the season.
I think right now my target is to do everything that I can with the players to help the club to stay in League 1. And also my second target, or still my first target, is to be in the national team, maybe next call-up or be part of the World Cup squad.
From being mugged after a difficult night in Rabat to climbing up the ladder in European football shows how his resilience is gradually reshaping his reputation.
Oh, that was a story on Terry Yeg. But before we go, just updates in the UEFA Champions League. FC Barcelona beat Olympiacos by 6-1 after Fermin Lopez hat-trick and Marcus Rashford also getting a brace as well. You can get updates on the evening kickoffs, which sees Arsenal face Atletico Madrid, on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Oreko Ampofo.
My line of work
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Dongo. Now, Ghanaian dancehall icon Shatta Wale has hinted at plans to take his Shatta Fest to other regions of Ghana and beyond in a bid to create unforgettable experiences for fans across the world. Now, the celebrated musician, who was overwhelmed by the massive success of his recently held event, expressed his desire to collaborate with corporate Ghana to extend the festival's unique experience beyond Accra. He spoke to 3 Entertainment.
Commenting on the hugely successful event held at Black Star Square in Accra, the award-winning musician Shatta Wale expressed his excitement over the massive turnout and overwhelming support from fans. According to the hitmaker, the energy and love displayed at this year's festival have inspired him to elevate Shatta Fest into a national brand.
God, made that happen, and thanks to the fans, like I always say, they've been so, inspirational to me. They've really, motivate me to do stuff like this, and I always want to say God bless the fans and my Shatta movement fans and the whole Ghana. I believe it wasn't only my fans that came, but most Ghanaians also really supported for this thing to happen.
The SM boss revealed that plans are already in motion to engage corporate Ghana and potential partners who share his vision of celebrating Ghanaian music and culture on a much larger scale. Shatta Fest, is a brand that, we've built, and I believe with a few collaborations like, MTN by Momo and, other, affiliations, we're going to have it every year because we're even thinking about taking it to other regions and, even outside Ghana as well. So it's a great, initiative, and I believe people should just expect more of this. Shatta Fest, the musical contest that brings together thousands of fans for a night of electrifying performances, dance and celebration of the Shatta movement brand, has earned rave reviews following the resounding success of its 2025 edition.
There's always a call that, corporate Ghana should come on board and support the creative space. What do we need to do to attract the needed funds that we want within the space?
Well, I think the discipline, hard work, and how we push the agenda of everything we do. And I think for me to have a brand like this come on board for me is something that should show that the corporate body is always ready to support people like us.
I want to keep you on say you go get money. Say I go get money. Say I go get money.
Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Martin, you were enjoying Papa.
Yes. We go get money. Big up Shatta Wale. I think he's one of Ghana's finest when it comes to music and performance.
Undoubtedly.
And on that note, we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Ayisha Yakubu. Have a good evening.